Welcome to episode 4 of the Laced Up Show. This is a show all about sneakers and sneaker news. I'm your host, Chase, with my co-host, Landon. And today we have another jam-packed episode for you. So let's just get right into it. Starting off with Snipes is acquiring Jimmy Jazz, and the German retailer, sneaker and streetwear retailer, Snipes, is expanding its pretense into the U.S. with its acquiring the New Jersey-based sneaker chain Jimmy Jazz. So Snipes will increase its store count from just 100 stores to 270 stores. So Landon, does this acquisition either hurt or help sneakerheads?
I'd say in the small sense, it's going to help because you're going to have sneaker stores is the one place that can't get botted, right? Like unless
In-store,
you
right.
say that, but if it turns into raffles
Or
and
backdoors?
they're online raffles, then you can use a bot and you can work on sneaker bots and raffle bots and stuff like that. But as far as being able to acquire shoes for sneakerheads and not sneaker resellers, we're going to cut the two in half because you can be both. But if we're talking just about sneakerheads, people that want to get shoes for them for retail, it's definitely going to help because it's going to be more remote locations that you can get these stores. Not to mention, Snipes does okay at bot protection anyways.
I was going to
feel
say, I personally just don't like Snipes and how they do their releases. That little walking man,
He never moves.
I can't.
He never moves,
does.
But other people get shoes.
Yeah.
So we're two small drops of water into the ocean.
True.
But other people are out there, seem to be out there getting the
True.
shoes. So I don't like it. I think it's funny.
I think it's going to be weird to just see no more Jimmy Jazz stores. They're all going to become Snipes. That's going to be wild.
Yeah, no, because I didn't even know what Jimmy Jazz was forever, just kind of growing up. The first time I walked into a Jimmy Jazz, it was not even shoes. It was all just kind of hype streetwear type stuff.
Oh, right.
So the first Jimmy Jazz I ever went to was in one of the malls, and I was like, oh yeah, this has some really cool. They got all this NBA themed stuff and all the kind of the hype, kind of out there clothing, if you want to call it that. I thought it was cool, but the first one I saw was shoes. I was like, so Jimmy Jazz does kind of carry hype shoes, so it's really just. It doesn't change a ton, I guess, if they're going to add stores. But what is the what did you say? What is the extra 170 stores you're going to add compared to how many Jimmy Jazzes are you taking away?
All of them.
Exactly.
Right.
So does that really help? Because Jimmy Jazz is already a store that sneakerheads can get their stuff.
Right. So
in
it's
a
just a new
small
name.
sense, it's honestly probably going to make it worse because you're losing I would have to imagine more. I think there's 270 Jimmy Jazz stores in Florida. They're
No.
everywhere. They're everywhere. There's a bunch of Jimmy Jazz.
It's in the United States.
It's in every mall. I know, but you're talking about Snipes.
Right.
I'm talking about Jimmy Jazz is already existing.
Right.
There's probably
No.
more than this many Jimmy Jazz.
There's 100. Right? No, there's 170 stores in the
Really?
United States. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so they're just gonna take over those existing stores already.
Right.
Okay, I
So
thought
Jimmy
you were
Jazz
taking away all of them, and you were just gonna add some Snipes stores.
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So basically, the Jimmy Jazz logo
I
ahead
don't
of
know
it.
what that changes.
It's
Except for. I don't really know what that
well, it's
changes.
kind of like Foot Locker acquiring I think it was Atmos.
Foot Action.
No.
No?
Foot
You're thinking about
Locker
something different.
Foot Locker acquired Atmos a few months ago.
Right.
So it's the same thing. So they're just doing that.
Well,
But-
yeah, just the way your question's for. I don't think it's going to help or hurt sneakerheads necessarily as long as you still have in-store options because when everything's turned online, you automatically get bots involved. So, that side of the spectrum would probably hurt sneakerheads. But
Yeah. Hopefully they don't close many stores from, keep that in-store presence.
yeah,
But
that's what I wonder. I don't know if they'll look to do.
that's what what the article said. It looks like you're just basically renaming and just acquiring the brand. But moving on, Landon, what do we got next?
All right, so this is actually a really tough one. So Virgil Abloh kind of tragically passes away, and what does this mean for the Off-White brand? So the passing of designer Virgil Abloh sent shockwaves across the sneakerhead and across the sneaker and streetwear communities. Though he'd been privately battling a rare form of cancer since 2019, the last 2 years leading up to Virgil Abloh's death were just some of the most ambitious years of his career, with the designer serving as the artistic director of Louis Vuitton's menswear line and releasing several new Off-White and Nike projects. So, first off, rest in peace to Virgil Abloh, and just thoughts and prayers with his family right now. I know that news was just it was shocking.
No one expected it.
Because like the article says, it was pretty private battle of cancer. It wasn't really on the front lines and stuff like that. But the bulk of this article kind of talks about how this affects the market because obviously we work with sneakers and stuff like that. It's the part of the article that you don't really want to focus on as much, but it's there, so we're gonna talk
What
about
happens?
it. So, you know, this honestly, this I was looking at this event, and it kind of reminds me, event. That's not the right way to put it, but like this passing, and it kind of reminds me of Kobe Bryant, you know, years back, and kind of how that affected shoes on the aftermarket.
Yeah.
I know that at that time, I have a bunch of basketball shoes, and I had like 2 or 3 pairs of Kobe's that I was just like getting rid of because I already had, you know, some other ones. So I was just selling some used Kobe's, and like that happened. The helicopter crash happened, and I remember I was like so sad, and I was just like kind of reading into it, and then all of a sudden like bang, 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 all
Oh,
3 of my
yeah.
Kobe's sold. It sold.
Yeah.
It sold. It sold. And I'm like, dang, that was weird. It was like literally immediate though. Like I had 3 pairs on eBay that had been up for probably
Months,
a
probably.
month or two,
Yeah.
a month or two, and then that day just sold, sold, sold. So like, you know, similar to that, all the off-white prices have like they've just skyrocketed, which, you know, the future of the brand is pretty uncertain right now. So, you know, it was reported that off-white Jordan 1s that were going for $5,000, like, you know, the Chicago, the UNCs and stuff like
Right.
that, immediately doubled upon the news, like going for $10,000 now. So like, I mean, what are your thoughts just on this whole thing first? I'll let you talk on it.
I mean, tragically, I mean, I was shocked when I heard that. I texted Landon. I was like, yo, man, like, your off-whites, like,
You did.
Virgil
You texted me.
passed.
You
Yeah.
texted me.
I was like, holy cow, like, this is insane. And, you know, as much as I predicted, like, this is going to happen, I mean, it's just how the markets work with anything. I mean, even, you know, baseball players, or, you know, that's what I kind of grew up on is, you know, once a baseball player, you know, they're anything that they signed isn't too valuable, but as soon as they pass away, it definitely just jumps in
'Cause
market.
there's only a finite
Right.
number of
So
those
now it's set in stone. I know that, you know, it's not the end all be all for Off-White, you know, Jordan collabs or Nike collabs. I know he's got a few more coming out. He's got the Louis Vuitton Air Forces that are
Right.
coming out. Those are already out. So at least there's some other releases that are coming out still. But I'm kind of curious to see if Nike and all these other brands that have collaborated with Virgil, either they're going to continue on with the Off-White collabs, or are they going to cancel it like they did with Kobe? And now I know it was a little different with Kobe because Kobe's wife kind of really set the deal and set it in stone, and really
It
halted
sounded
that
like there was some
partnership.
foul play going on there,
Right.
too. Like at least
Yeah.
some sort of breach of communication. Like
So-
they weren't on the same page.
So
but-
I'm not too sure how it's going to work this way.
Well, I want to ask you
but-
this. So, you know, some people were actually hoping that, like, you know, the aftermarkets like GOAT and StockX were hoping that they would take the off-white stuff down, like, you know, kind of pause sales
Right.
for a certain period of
Right.
time so people aren't, you know, just going crazy over it. I know that StockX did tweet out like a tribute kind of saying that they planned on like making a donation to like Virgil's like scholarship fund, which is really, you know, cool, of course. But, you
Mhm.
know, none of the products have been taken down yet. There hasn't really been a statement saying that's what's going to happen. I think in the article it talks a little bit like, you know, StockX, the owner did come out and talk about, you know, the ramifications of this. Like, obviously, whenever passings like this happen, it is going to affect the market.
Right.
Like, it's just the way that it is. It's
Right.
the way that it is with everything. But there hasn't really been, I think, it's like split. Like, half the world's going to be like, this is stupid. Now all the prices are going to go up. I already couldn't afford them anyways.
Right.
And then you're going to have the people that are, you know, in possession of the shoes like, hey, this is just business. Business is business, and it's strictly financial. That's the way
Right.
some people look at it.
Well, I mean, I don't think any marketplaces should pull any not StockX, but any Off-White collabs. You know, if it's a true open marketplace, the marketplace should always be open. This kind of reminds me of, like, you know, when the whole AMC stocks were happening and people were just blowing that stock up, and then like Robinhood like stopped the stock.
Oh, yeah.
Like, people were so mad at that because, like, I get it, like, kind of, but also, like, it's their risk. They put their money in. So if these guys want to buy the shoe at $10,000, like, let them buy it at $10,000. Like,
Well, that's the part of it too. Is like, you know, say you pull everything, so now
Right.
you can't access off-white stuff
Right.
anymore. What if you're like someone who I love Off-White. Off-White's probably my favorite collab, but I
Oh,
still
for
wouldn't
sure.
say I'm in love with Virgil or anything like that. Like I was in love with what he created, but there's gonna be those people out there like designers and stuff that like, oh, I look up to Virgil and all this different stuff. Like I'd pay that money for his shoe, but now I can't do it because they're pulling the stuff.
yeah,
So,
I don't
like,
know.
I
It's
feel like you have to keep it available no matter how
Yeah.
crazy the prices are, because with inflation and stuff like that anyways, I feel like generally the prices have come down from where they would have been 2-3 years ago.
Oh, for sure.
Like shoes were just
For
selling
sure.
for more back then.
Yeah, no, Off-Whites, I mean, we've seen it. We've personally seen Off-Whites just, lose hundreds and hundreds of dollars after release date. It's like, what are we doing? And then,
But they did talk about how the market, like, it was every model. They said the Off-White
Yeah.
Jordan 2s that just released, they were going for $750.
Oh, yeah.
Passes, they're going for $1,300.
Yeah.
No, that's like $800, $600.
right. I
difference.
mean, it makes sense. I mean, I don't have anything against that. If people want to buy it, they can. I'm just glad that they have the opportunity to. I don't want anyone to make the decision for me if I don't, like, if I wanted to buy it and someone takes it away. But it is truly sad that we lost such a great designer in shoes, and he really did change the game.
Yeah,
personally,
great person too, from everything that you read.
Right.
Everyone loved him.
Yes, I mean, it's crazy that he's just already gone like that quick. I would have never expected this news to break this early. It's just like out of nowhere. But
he was getting the best treatment, and it's just something that he couldn't fight.
yeah, it's just crazy. Like, it just really shows, like, you never know, like, when's your last day. But
that's when you wake up. That's when you wake up and work hard.
But moving on, let's go on to something a little bit brighter. eBay is buying SneakerCon. That's right. eBay has bought out the sneaker authentication service, SneakerCon. So back in October 2020, eBay partnered with SneakerCon, and it allowed eBay to launch their own authentication service. My lord, it's early day for us, but so for the users. So now, if you guys don't know, eBay is selling those sneakers, and if you do buy a sneaker for over $100, they will authenticate it for you guys. But fast forward to now, eBay has officially purchased the SneakerCon's authentication service. So since their partnership, over 1.5 million sneakers have been authenticated through eBay, and 1.9 million sneakers are still available on their platform daily. So eBay's representative, John Sweetnam, says that the response to our authentication offering has been overwhelming, and this acquisition has allowed us to continue to transform eBay to bring a higher level of trust and confidence to every transaction. So this is great news for everyone. But Landon, what are your thoughts on this move from eBay as well? Out of the big three marketplaces, you got eBay, GOAT, and StockX. Who would you trust the most with your money to make sure that it's authentic?
First off, I mean, it doesn't matter who you talk to. Someone's going to say that fakes get through no matter where they go. Like, oh, I sent in fakes to StockX. They got passed. Man, sorry, I got a sore throat today, guys. But so it's with everything. Sometimes some part of it's going to depend on who you talk to. But I will give you credit here. You kind of called this saying, I think it was like a year or two ago, whenever eBay started to do their through no fees, you're like, eBay's just trying to crush other marketplaces.
Yeah.
And it seems like this is just another move to do that. Like,
yeah,
they have, so they're literally outsourcing almost, or outsourcing by purchasing. So now it's not even outsourcing because it's within their own
now
house.
they integrated it.
Yeah, but they just integrated it, and now they're just like, they're just all the limits, all the things. Because remember, there was a period of time where we were selling all these shoes on eBay, and we weren't getting the money until like a month and a half later. Like, it was a month and a half later. We called the people, and they're like, hey, the authentication's just backed up. Like, it's backed up so far. And because we were selling a bunch of shoes at that time, and then you forget that there's other people out there doing the same thing. So it's all coming in. I think they didn't have as many distribution centers. I think maybe at that point they just had one. Maybe they did have two. But I know it's mainly like New York and Vegas is where we were kind of sending our shoes to. But doing this, I'm imagining, is just going to allow them to authenticate shoes quicker, faster, have more people that all kind of work on that thing. So eBay's just off the charts right now, because it's for someone who resells shoes,
they're doing
a lot of the time you can't sell on GOAT and StockX after a release. Like, you'd have to pre-sell, but you can't even pre-sell on there. On eBay, you at least have the option to say, like, hey, this is a pre-sale, we'll ship on this date, shoes are coming here and when, and all this stuff. Like, GOAT and StockX, it's like, you got 2 days, we're canceling your order. So it's like, it's a really powerful move, though. But, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great move from eBay. I mean, they were doing that partnership. It's kind of, like I said, I kind of saw this happening where eBay's that big giant, and they're really spearheading this whole sneaker scene. And and I think good things are going to come. I mean, we did have a little issue with the payments coming in slowly from eBay, but then also like, I mean, we called them and super great customer service, and they also said like, hey, they are working on things to speed it up. And then next thing you know, I think that month, like that later month, it's now everything's going smoothly and everything's great. So, but really, I really wanted to ask you is, you know, out of the three, who would you trust more to make sure that it's authentic?
That's tough. I feel like it depends on how much research and stuff that you've done, because after hearing about this eBay purchasing like legit like SneakerCon, like people sneakerheads know SneakerCon, but sneakerheads know GOAT and StockX more than eBay. I feel like, because it's highly focused shoes, right?
Yeah.
Whenever you talk about eBay, we're talking about golf clubs, we're talking about clothes.
True.
We're talking about this stuff. StockX dabbles in the clothes a little bit, kind of the accessories a little bit, PlayStations, different stuff like that, but still mainly focused shoes. I think that you could agree. Like I think they do playing cards and stuff like that now too, maybe, but all brand new, all dead stock.
True.
GOAT, you can get used, you can get defect, no box, new, but all shoes. No really clothes, a little bit clothes, no like accessories really, obviously no PlayStations, none of that stuff. So they kind of stay in their lane. But eBay has this open realm of new, used, defects, pre-owned, just clothes, shirts, shoes.
They're massive.
Cars.
Yeah, they have so much other than just
like
sneakers.
It's ridiculous. So I mean, they have the power to just really take this under control. The real question is, when do they take away the $100 fees? I know we've been waiting on that forever.
I mean, I'm ready for it. It's gonna happen. I don't know exactly when. I'm assuming
I'm not ready for it.
If I was
ready for it,
I know, because it hurts everyone. Because as soon as they take that $100 away fee, I mean, all the prices are gonna go up. I mean,
that's what you would hope.
It's gonna happen.
Have to happen.
If you're gonna buy now on eBay, because if once that $100 fee goes up, everyone's gonna pay at least 10 to 15% more than they did when it was there. But I mean, if I was an eBay executive, you know, just from a business standpoint, since I'm like business minded, I think they would only take that away once they've gained enough market share out of the big three. So right now, I think StockX and GOAT are probably, I don't know, probably a little bit more than eBay. I'd say eBay's probably still a little behind. I mean, they're gaining a lot of speed, but once eBay actually gains the market share in it, they'll take that away. I don't know when though, but I'm not ready for it. But
I don't know the way this is placed right now though. I mean, eBay's doing good stuff.
Yeah,
for sure.
But moving on, Lennon, what we got next?
All right, yeah. So our next story is Adidas is re-releasing the D Rose 1.5 from his MVP season. So the trajectory of Derrick Rose's career kind of changed permanently on the night of April 28th, 2012, when the Bulls star guard tore his ACL. Derrick Rose will undoubtedly be, you know, among one of the biggest what-if stories in sports history, but the often injured guard has found a new purpose in the NBA, but not as a perennial MVP candidate. Rose has kind of emerged as a pivotal floor general and a mentor to younger backcourt players. So with the lifetime deal in operation, Adidas has continued to kind of release Derrick Rose's footwear, and now it's about the time for the first retro life cycle to begin. So 10 years ago, during Rose's MVP season, Adidas released the D Rose 1 and the D Rose 1.5, and now retailers have them scheduled to re-release in this December. So we did talk a little bit about like Nike kind of getting into the retro game with the LeBrons and stuff like that for that shoe line. So, you know, what do you think about Adidas kind of doing the same thing with this D Rose shoe line?
Well, first I didn't know that. I guess so it is true that D Rose and Adidas have a lifetime deal.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
They kind of stopped putting out some of his stuff for a while because he was out of the league.
Right.
He was battling with injuries.
Right.
You can't really...
Hard to sell shoes when he's not playing.
Exactly. So, I mean, then he kind of made a big resurgence like with the Timberwolves a few years back. Now they just obviously released that D Rose Son of Chai.
Right. Pretty good shoe.
Now they're going all the way back to his MVP season and kind of retroing that stuff. So, I mean, really intriguing, I think.
I mean, so I'm going to give my two thoughts on it. You know, looking at the shoe, this 1.5, it looks decent. It looks not bad. I mean, I don't know.
This was years ago. You got to think. This is like just a different type of fashion, I feel like. From like you go back to LeBron's first shoe, right?
Right.
And you go back to,
right.
you know, KD's first shoe. You have to keep that in mind.
So so I wonder if they're trying to market this as a performance, or they trying to perform like do something kind of closer to Jordan where it's more casual. Because to me, this 1.5 still looks like a performance-based shoe, like someone's still gonna play in it, and it's just kind of a repeat of a design trying to just like freshen it up. Like it's not, they're not converting it into a casual footwear style.
I wouldn't
Um,
really say that's what his line is.
right. So I'm just kind of curious where this kind of fits in to Adidas and D Rose's agenda. Are they just kind of doing it because LeBron and Nike are doing it? But like also like if that's the case, I don't think Adidas and D Rose is equivalent to Nike and LeBron and how they're going to sell their footwear.
I think there's a few factors you have to consider. One is Derrick Rose was like he. I guess the article talks a little bit too about how he's kind of been a really public figure and stuff like that, as someone who's gone through all this. Like I think it was more so than just injuries. I
Right.
think there was like depression involved. There was all this different type of
Right.
stuff. Like so he kind of stayed in the public eye, kind of fought the good fight and got through it to the other side. Now he's on the New York Knicks, the almost the capital of the world as far as like media and stuff like that, being in New York.
Right.
So you obviously have that spectacle. Yeah, I think there's a whole bunch of things to factor into it. The New York Knicks just went to the playoffs in forever
Mhm.
and made an actual like decent run. You know, they looked like a quality team again. So I wonder if Adidas is kind of playing into that hype right now. Like D Rose has
Right. Are they trying to build
an
him back?
expiration date on his years in the year,
Right.
on his years in the league. And of course, it's a retro. So what they're doing is they're taking the same basic model and they're
True.
putting in the updated stuff.
Right.
They've come up with new stuff since then. I haven't really looked at what has
What's in it?
been put into this shoe yet, but this is huge for me because I was a huge D Rose fan growing up. He was my favorite player. He was my backdrop and different stuff like this.
Mhm.
I even played in the D Rose 2 whenever I was a sophomore. So in high school, whenever I played sophomore basketball, I was playing in the D Rose 2 because I idolized him whenever he went to Memphis and was hitting game winners, and then he went to the Bulls, won the MVP his rookie year. So I was a huge fan of that team. So I just think that I don't want to say it's a money grab, but it's one of those things where it's like everything's like the stars align somehow. Like Adidas puts this life. You have to think about this. Objectively, is like Adidas signs him to this lifetime deal
Right.
because he's the youngest MVP. He's just literally taken LeBron to task as a rookie. The sky's the limit.
Right. And
Injury,
yeah.
injury, and now you're just like, you haven't probably gotten the most out of this deal as you could have gotten in your head. So maybe they're just kind of trying to make up for lost ground. Or
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I'm thinking into. Like he is getting older. Like once he retires, he's not gonna be a LeBron retro where people are still gonna remember him.
And I don't think his line will continue.
No.
Right.
So like, yeah, I think I think Adidas is like, hey, look, all right, D Rose is kind of getting up to the age where he's probably thinking about retirement. It takes probably like two years, maybe 1.5 years to actually make the shoe. So they're like, all right, let's just put some effort into D Rose, what he's got left. I'm sure he's going to go out and have a great, rest of his career. But let's see if we can maximize when we still have him as a player. So
yeah, and it does talk about how he kind of, I did mention in the intro, like how he kind of transitioned into a different type of player. Like,
right.
Because he used to, I can't
Right.
remember.
He's like a mentor.
In my shoe review, I did a shoe review on the Son of Chai, and I was talking about how like he was a high flyer, was dunking on people, doing all this stuff, super explosive, and now he's like, a leader, and he's a 3-point shooter.
Right.
He
more of
uses
a
floaters, and
locker room.
Just kind of revamped his game. So I just wonder, like, how many years he'll have left, and just how much they'll be able to get out of the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind him coming out with this kind of retro. I just hope they're not marketing it something like this huge deal, like D Rose is going to be having retros from here on out. Like it's just like we're kind of giving back to like the good times of D Rose and just kind of remembering that as like his kind of career almost comes to an end. But
Right.
but moving on.
Yeah,
I
was just peeking down and I saw this.
You like this?
Go ahead.
You like this?
Let's do it.
All right, so moving on, we got Fortnite is releasing the Jordan 11 Cool Gray sneakers and skins. So just last week, we were just talking about Roblox and Nike Land, and now Jordan Brand, which is also Nike, is reuniting with Fortnite to commemorate the long-awaited the Jordan 11 Cool Grays. So Jordan Brand and Fortnite have launched new outfits, cosmetics within the game, as well as an interactive experience, cues in the game with this creative mode called the Jumpman Zone. And the Fortnite features all these new skins with different types of characters decked out, and of course Jordan apparel, and then also rocking those new cool grays. So, as this, metaverse becomes a new forefront for retailers, and brands are just using these kind of digital products to encourage real world sales. But Landon, what do you think about, is this a good way to kind of build up hype? Are you a fan of, actually, since you play Fortnite, like, are you thinking about buying this skin? Have you bought it already?
I'm broke, but I will say I did see this. I mean, I can't believe I didn't even think to do an article about this, because I was just playing the other day with one of my friends from back home, and I was like, what? He's like, go look at the item shop. I go look at the item shop. You got this cool gray 11 backpack. They got like a dunking on someone emote.
Yeah.
You got like a whole Jordan jumpsuit for both men and women's characters. So it's like really cool. I think that
I like the outfits.
Anyone who teams with Fortnite right now is the smartest person in the room. Like that's just the best thing you can do. Like I went to go see a movie, Free Guy, just because I saw the advertisement in Fortnite. And it's like, Ryan
for
Reynolds.
real?
Yeah. So I was like, I think you invited me to go, but I was like,
that's
what's
so
this
crazy.
Movie? Free. We're going to see Free Guy. And I'm like, I just saw something about that in the game the other day. Yeah,
wow.
I'll go. It's got Ryan Reynolds in it. Yeah, because I saw it in the game. I'm like, yeah, I'll go watch that. Anyone who capitalized, Travis Scott going with Fortnite,
True.
That's going to get a ton of hype.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think Marshmello too. Marshmello has done his stuff with Fortnite.
Yeah,
I just think if you really want to get a wider base, there's so many people playing Fortnite out there right now. So it's just incredibly smart. Just strike while the iron is hot. I don't know how Fortnite has remained this hype-ish for this long.
I mean, they've been changing it up.
I thought it was going to be in and out. I thought it was going to be pretty in and out, but it's been a new season drops. I was playing last night, so a new season drops tomorrow. Just so you guys know. But this is really cool. I love this idea because who is it that I can give the most recent example? Space Jam had a LeBron character with the Space Jam jersey.
Yeah.
I don't like LeBron. I bought the skin. I bought the skin for 1,500 V-bucks. I don't like LeBron, but I'm like, a Space Jam jersey with LeBron in the thing. That's super cool.
Yeah.
I got a friend of mine who's a LeBron hater, hates me for it, but literally, I'm just like, this is such a cool concept. I'll buy all that stuff. Like back whenever they were doing basketball, like dribbling emotes, I'm like, I played basketball. I like this. This is cool. So definitely a really cool concept, though. But I got to stop talking. What do you think about it?
So just to follow up with that, do you think that's a way to build up hype for actual physical sales? Like now, like you bought the character and you see the cool grays. Now you actually see the cool grays coming out. Are you more interested to buy the cool gray, you think?
It's one or the other. It's at the very least, there's no loss because you either I'm like, oh, now I really want to buy it after seeing it, or I didn't know that she was coming out soon. Maybe I'll buy it.
True.
It looks pretty cool.
So at least it's attention on it.
Like it's gonna grab your attention and stuff like that, because I don't check the item shop all that often, but like whenever I see something in there that I really like, I mean, yeah, I don't know how the partnership works, but I have to imagine there's some type of deal for Jordan and Fortnite involved along the lines of like,
right. I don't know if they get a percentage of the
sales of the actual like Jordan brand quality, or is it all done
like
in the
license
details before?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like an agreement.
Not
That's
sure.
what I wonder, because either way they're going to be making money off
Oh
of it.
yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
I think it's a really smart idea. They've been doing that for a while now. Like they do football themed stuff whenever the Super Bowl
NFL
they do
and stuff.
baseball themed stuff during the MLB World Series and stuff. So
At least definitely for Fortnite, they have definitely figured out a way to stay relevant.
They did.
Yeah,
they did,
and they do it over and over again, and it's cool to see that brands are recognizing it. I'm kind of wishing like Puma or like some other footwear brands kind of like start noticing like, hey, Nike's kind of wiping the floor
Nike
with us right now. Like
Yeezys. Can you imagine
like,
Yeezys in the game?
Yeezys would be crazy, right?
I'm buying those
So,
Yeezys.
I don't
Not
know.
that it even matters, because even though it is like a third-person game where you can see your character the whole time, really the only thing that matters to me, the backpack. You see the backpack a lot, so having a backpack is smart. The whole outfit and skin or whatever is smart.
Yeah.
Shoes, kind of tough to tell. Because you're just running around the whole time and different stuff like that. But, the shoe backpack, really smart.
Yeah.
Pickaxes and different stuff. A little Jordan pickaxe or something like that.
Yeah.
Jordan, little Jumpman pickaxe.
Yeah, a little keychain or something on this.
Along those lines.
But
it's just the advertising for Fortnite. That's honestly probably what they did to stay relevant, because there's been so much. I know I've complained about it, about them not like changing up the game
Yeah.
enough,
Yeah.
or not like bringing old stuff back. And I mean, me and my friends have conversations about it all the time. We used to talk about it when
Yep.
we played. So it's like, I think they found a way where it's like, we don't really have to do that much. Like in the very beginning, I think they were changing stuff up quicker. I think it was a lot quicker.
I don't know. I
It
can't
seemed like
remember.
it seemed like they were changing stuff up quicker, and we're like, wow, man, Fortnite, like every couple of weeks is something new, something new. And then I feel like it slowed down, but they found a way, like, hey, if we just throw in a Valentine's themed
Right.
skin, or we just
Like
throw
some
in
collabs almost.
a NCAA
Right.
football themed skin, or like just something random like that, they found ways to kind of.
Yeah, I'm waiting for like I think Yeezy and Puma need to get into it. I think a really crazy collab would be like Supreme in Fortnite. I think people would go crazy over
Box
that.
tee.
A
Get the
box
box
tee,
tee.
people will be going nuts for that.
That'd be
But
interesting.
but
for sure.
Landon, moving on, what do we got next?
All right, so Nike is reportedly limiting online Air Force One sales. So the Air Force One was the company's best-selling sneaker of 2020, and it held on to that distinction at the midway point for this year in 2021. But screenshots shared by a Twitter user kind of indicate that Nike is now limiting the amount of Air Force Ones that can be purchased by a single customer. So one update reportedly sent to a customer kind of notes further that orders of the Air Force One cannot be processed because they've exceeded the quantity limit on Nike.com orders. So another customer was directed to visit a local Nike store or another authorized retailer to purchase more Air Force Ones. And neither email actually cited a reason for limiting the quantities. So, there's a few different theories on why Nike might be doing this. The first one's going to be to limit shoe customizers, right? Because shoe customizers, buy out all the triple white Air
Yeah.
Force One stock
Yeah.
so they can do their customizations. But the thing is, it's not just all white. Like they're limiting Air Force One black, Air Force
Oh,
One
interesting.
pink, Air Force One different colors. So you think blank canvas. So that's not really the reason why. The other reason is that they said like maybe due to late shipments. Because we've been hearing a lot of circulation about
Yeah.
that with Nike about we're canceling this release because shoes aren't in. We're doing this, but and then of course there's going to be the obvious like resale chatter, like you buy enough Air Force Ones, but the thing is it's like really slim margins on that. We know that, so the only way that you'd really be able to make any decent profit is like if you're getting them discounted. So what do you think about this move from Nike if they really are limiting these Air Force Ones like it seems to be?
Yeah, I mean the motive that I'm feeling from reading this article is that it's more late shipments, kind of cancellations. I don't think it's anything limiting the shoe customizers, specifically, or it's just like kind of holding off on the resale, kind of like holding on resellers.
You've seen photos of people with
Oh, hundreds.
400
Yeah.
Air Force One
Right.
triple whites.
Right.
You go into stores. I remember whenever I was like going to malls more often, you go into stores like, hey, you got any all white Air Force Ones? Sorry, we're sold out.
Yeah. No, it's definitely the game has changed with those Air Forces for sure. I think what happened, what kind of gave it the craze for resellers to kind of jump in and on Air Forces was that TikTok was coming, all these influencers were rocking white Air Forces, and so hear me out. I think TikTok influenced the white Air Force demand. The resellers noticed that and bought up all of it. That's why we are seeing a little bit of a margin for these resellers, which is okay.
Very slim, but some people live in that.
Hey,
slim
I
market.
mean, if
we
they can
kinda
do it, I mean, congrats to them. But then also, I think on top of that, with that crazy demand happening with TikTok and just the white Air Forces, and of course, people needed to customize shoes, there's also late shipments happening because
So you think it's more of a combination of the three, almost, is what you sound like.
I
you're
think
leaning
it's
towards.
I think
Like
it's
you-
high demand. There's more high demand on these white Air Forces than probably ever before, at least in 2021,
It's the
and
best-selling shoe.
and the short limits of the supply. I mean, we already know. I even brought that up. I was going to do an article on it, but Nike already released to other retailers. There's been leaks about emails coming out where, hey, if you didn't get your orders in for summer 2022, fall 2022, like no more orders. Like we're out. Like the supply has just been crushed. I mean, we saw like way back when COVID hit their Vietnam suppliers, their manufacturers. So I feel like probably that would make sense. Like when COVID hit around that time, they were probably manufacturing 2022 footwear. So I think it's just a combination of everything. Nike's like, hey, we're
You
going to
don't wanna
sell
get
out of
tied
Air
down.
Forces.
You don't want to commit to one of these 3 options. You just
No,
wanna
I
go.
for sure think it's late shipments. I don't think Nike would care about selling crazy amounts of shoes to
Well, that's
anyone.
the thing, because I don't know how it's your best selling shoe from 2020 and your best selling shoe midway through 2021,
Right.
and it's been out forever.
Yeah.
So it's like, why don't you just keep pumping these things? Why do you not have somewhere that's like you only make Air Force Ones forever?
Right.
Like you are an Air Force One distribution.
Yeah.
center. That's all you are.
No,
And just keep
it's-
making them because they'll
it's
never sell out.
Definitely the late shipments.
But you beat your off-white I gotta stop saying off-white. You beat your Air Force Ones into the ground, you buy another pair.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. Like it's one of those shoes where it's like other shoes.
It's a
like, I
classic.
want this color, I
Yeah.
want that color. It's like just triple white Air Force One.
Yeah, no, it's if you force me into it, it's definitely the late shipments that are causing this limitation.
I
on
do.
them.
I want you to pick one. That's
Yeah.
what you're choosing.
Yeah, it's late shipments.
Part of me wants to think it's resellers.
No, it's not.
I
Resellers.
saw one flex
if
pick
anything-
and I chose. I committed to that one. I think that's what
I
it
don't
is.
think so.
It's not us.
I don't
but
think
it's
so.
Someone.
That wouldn't make any sense. But
It would make some
No.
sense.
no. But moving on, we got an interesting article for you guys. So Puma is pouncing back into the basketball scene with the Mellow Ones. I thought you would like that pun.
Mhm.
But Puma is debuting their newest basketball shoe, the Mellow Ones. Puma basketball is putting itself back on the map by producing what some fans are calling the best one shoe after Michael Jordan's Air Jordan 1. So the Mellow Ones are set to release sometime in December, so any minute now. So now I was reading more into this article, and it was kind of a little clickbaity because it was actually more of a dig to Mellow Ones. So they were just kind of saying that it's not even a close top 10. So Landon, what are your thoughts on these Mellow Ones and also Puma's like basketball future?
Close to the Jordan 1s. That's
Man,
what it says.
That's that I can show you the screenshot.
I see. No, I'm just kidding. There's definitely some lies there, but this is a cool design. I will say they did some cool things to this design that make it look unique. Like I say, every single shoe review, we'll definitely review these sometime this month if they do drop.
Yeah.
So I'm pumped for that. But like I said, like with every new shoe line, Trae Young just had his. I don't even know where those shoes are at, but Trae Young just had his shoe line come out. So I was like reviewing those, checking it out, and the first shoe from every shoe line is always my favorite because like, what are you gonna get?
Right.
Like,
It's like the standard.
It's a whole new thing, but like even then, even as it being a standard, it always makes a huge like kind of a harsh switch from the 1 to the 2. So like the 1 and the 2 are always my favorite shoes because they're almost never alike. It's like we're gonna try something out like this, then we're gonna try something this way, and then whatever one feels like a better kind of a structure to build off of, we'll go that route.
Right.
So it's either the 1 and the 3 are kind of similar, or the 2 and the 3 are kind of similar in my mind. So they kind of try out a few things to figure out what you like, but just for the design for these, I do like the it's kind of like a spider web is what it looks like whenever you like kind of coming out from the top of the design, and then you got some like crisscrossing patterns on the midsole. So it's definitely a pretty unique look. Kind of looks like a
Like a
Puma
mid?
mid. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not quite a high, but
No.
it's definitely not a low. And I'm not super surprised by that. But hey, Puma has a signature line. Is this the first one ever?
It's
I
been a
don't
while. It's
know
probably been a
what it would
while.
be. I don't know what the other one would
I'm
be.
sure they've had one in the past,
First one
but
in my lifetime that I can think of.
yeah.
So it's like this is pretty exciting for them. I knew that they were gonna do something. I didn't know who they were gonna hit on because a few years ago they
They went to
signed
town.
DeMarcus Cousins, Marvin Bagley, Michael Porter, just Danny Green, to all these different guys. I'm like, okay, which one of you is gonna get a signature shoe? One of you guys are getting a signature shoe. Same thing with Jordan whenever they signed Zion, Luka, and Jason Tatum. I'm like, look at these. Which one of you 3 are getting a signature shoe? Because it's one of you for sure.
Yeah.
Probably all 3 of you. But Zion obviously was the first one to get one. Puma, we're seeing it happen with LaMelo Ball. So I'm pretty. What do you think about this design? Do you like it?
It's
You
It's
can't
kinda-
focus on this orangish colorway. I think
Right.
you could have grabbed a better picture for us. I don't know if
no.
you guys
This is
can
the
see it,
so
but
this is what they're releasing.
this is the first one.
This is the first one. It's
Very
like,
vibrant. You realize he plays on a blue team, right? Does Puma know that? He
well,
plays
I
on the
wonder if it's a
Hornets?
stab at like kind of like a Red October
No,
kind
it's
of
not.
deal.
Stop. We're gonna
But-
cut that take off immediately. But keep on talking.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm interested in it for sure. It's kind of interesting how they did a mid because I think all the Puma shoes that we've done currently have been lows. So it's kind of interesting
The
why they
Fusion
went.
Nitro and
Yeah.
the Puma Clyde.
Yeah,
and
they've all been lows, so it's interesting why they went with the mid. I'm curious. I bet you it's got great traction because it seems like almost all the Pumas that we've gotten have great traction so
the
far.
Fusion Nitros had really good traction. It's just the upper was just
Right.
like rubber.
Yeah, and the upper does look.
Same thing with the Clyde, I guess. Yeah, so Puma's had some pretty good.
It's not
pretty
bad.
good traction.
It should
Did you
be
see
interesting.
A price on it?
I did not see a price on it
Wonder what
yet,
that'll be.
but I can't. It can't be too much. But
No, it'll probably be. I know the Fusion Nitros that we did were like 130.
Oh, I thought they were 160.
130. So I'm
Okay.
imagining that's what they'll probably try and keep this around. Just the first shoe.
I think it's gonna go up.
You think it'd be higher than that?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like 150.
Adidas came out of nowhere and threw the Trey Youngs in for 140 after like
True.
John and Dame were down to 110 and stuff like that. So I thought that was surprising.
Trey Young was a little different though. I mean, they did include a lot of like crazy like not performance.
Like suede on the upper.
Yeah, you had suede. I mean, you also included Boost. Boost is like super expensive to manufacture.
They only in the heel though. They only
right.
Have a little
well,
boost
I bet.
tuck
I
in
mean,
the
if they did the entire thing, it'd probably be $180, $190 shoe.
I don't know. They do it for Harden's shoe line, and he
Right, but those are way up.
No, they were 150, 140.
I don't
No,
think
they
so.
are. No,
Are they sure?
Yeah,
But
they're
I
not
don't
that
know.
high.
Moving on to these mellow ones. I mean, it's okay. I don't know why they did it the solid red colorway first.
That's a weird release. Normally, because it's pretty standard to go black and white.
Right.
I don't even know what these would look like black and white. What parts would be black and what parts would be white? Like to me, this design like almost mixes together between the upper and the midsole.
Yeah,
like,
it's a
got the
lot going on
patches
for
going
sure.
around. Like what parts on that shoe would you make white?
Yeah.
And what parts would you make black to make it like your basic standard?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like KD,
I don't
PG,
know
first color.
why they went with red. I think red was
Because I've seen him wear this colorway. I've seen him wear a black and a blue, which would have made a lot more sense to release first.
I don't know. You go to Puma and Puma/Mellow or whatever it is, and it's red.
Mello is so out there. You've seen this guy. You've seen what he wears. He's like a young Russell Westbrook, just in the way he kind of captures the attention from just like the media and just like the way he talks, the way he plays. Just he's a very out there type of personality. So I guess I'm not super surprised by the color scheme, even though like maybe I definitely wouldn't get this colorway personally. But it's a cool look. It's definitely. I think the design's gonna.
I think it's exciting. I think Puma has a pretty good future ahead of them, especially in the basketball scene. I mean, they have been putting out some ridiculously like sticky shoes. They just got to figure out their uppers. I think their uppers are just kind of messed up right now.
One time. The Puma Clyde All Pro is one of my favorite shoes ever.
Yeah.
Puma Clyde All Pro is like super nice for like the price that it is.
Yeah.
Like it's a really good budget shoe.
But yeah, I don't know. It's an okay shoe. I can't wait to get it in. But Landon, what do we got next?
All right, so Steph Curry signs UConn's Aziz Fudd as his first athlete to join the SC30 brand. So the former #1 overall high school recruit and current UConn Husky has a partnership in place with the Golden State Warriors superstar Steph Curry. So thanks to a recent change in the NCAA's name, image, and likeness, the NIL rules, which I'm sure you guys have heard of, it actually allows college athletes the ability to profit off their name during their amateur years without foregoing college eligibility. So, SC30s, that's Steph's off the court kind of business. It's not like a sports management company or anything like that. It's just kind of like his off the court kind of business endeavors. So it's not really entirely clear what this specific deal is going to look like. It is said that like Curry kind of plans to work directly with her to kind of help her balance school, basketball, and just like her growing role as one of like the faces of women's basketball to come, because her along with her teammate Paige Beckers, which we've talked about a few times on here, with like who signed deals with StockX, and I think she just signed with Gatorade too.
Yeah.
So you're seeing these pour in their teammates on like obviously one of the best college
by far the best,
just like
ever,
just in the history of the world. Like they're just so dominant. So I mean, what are your thoughts on this deal with Steph Curry signing Aziz Fudd to this SC30 brand, his first athlete?
I don't know. It's kind of interesting because it's like what's the idea behind it? I mean, you sign, it's great. Like you have a representation with someone who's great in the NBA. But like, what are you getting out of it? Like, is it just
aside from the things I told you, with
right?
The
but like,
and the stuff like that, that's what I'm saying.
Is
like,
it
the details
she
are
getting
a little
a shoe?
fuzzy.
Like, is Curry becoming a Jordan collab where Curry's collabing, or like Curry
It's not a
Curry
collab.
shoe? No, but I'm saying like the Curry shoe is gonna get PEs for these players. Is like that. Is that what kind of Under Armour is? Under Armour involved in this, or is it just kind of like merch? Or
They
I
have
don't
to
know.
be. Well, actually, I don't think they have to be involved because it's SC30. I feel like this is his private brand. I should have looked into it a little bit more, but it's not Under Armour
No,
SC30.
no.
This is the SC30 Incorporation.
Right.
It's Steph Curry's off-court
Right.
business.
But what do they? Do you know what they do?
That's what I'm saying.
Do
It's-
they do like
it just
merch
says
for
it's
him or
not like a
something?
sports management or anything
Okay.
like that. And the thing is, like, I feel like the bulk of this isn't like you can only do so much in college, right? Because at a certain point, like I know that what's his name, Mikey Williams, I think signed with Puma, and he's in high school or maybe
Yeah.
just doing
Yep.
college. But, like,
17. Yeah.
at the same time, you can sign them young and hope, right? You got all this money, throw it around a little bit.
Yeah.
You just go fishing, sign them young for Puma especially, and then you still got to wait for them to get to the league, like for like anything major to happen. Like you can't really advertise a college athlete all that well, like especially for the WNBA.
No, like I've
not all
never
the
I've never
games are
heard of
gonna be
her.
on TV.
Yeah.
And all this different stuff. Like she was obviously really good. She went to I know that it mentioned she went to his camps growing up. So like he had been around her,
Right.
kind of like knew what she was about,
On
knew
the
her
radar.
family goals, like,
Right.
different stuff like that. They had a lot of like-minded stuff going on. So she would go to his Under Armour camps. So he's a girl dad too. So like he's
Right.
very invested in women's basketball, much like Kobe, not to the extent that Kobe was, but in the same type of realm. So I think that's interesting. But like I said, for WNBA, you can't go pro until you finish your junior year. It's not one and done like men's.
Really?
You got to play your full. That's the only reason Paige Beckers is in college.
Oh, okay.
She'd be in the WNBA for sure. Number one pick. You got to finish your junior year before you can go to the WNBA.
And is that a WNBA
That's-
rule
yeah,
or is that
that's
a
That's
NCAA?
an NCAA women's college basketball rule, as far as I'm concerned.
Wow, that's
So
weird.
yeah, so for men, one and done. For women, you got to go 3 years. So this
Hmm.
like can't really take its full effect for a couple more years. But I just find it interesting, and I just don't really know what it's gonna look like yet.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens, for the future. But yeah, I honestly have no idea what to expect, but that can be good and bad. But moving on, we have an exciting article for you guys now. So lawmakers have introduced a bill that could potentially ban bots ahead of the holiday season. So a handful of Democratic lawmakers are attempting to stop bots from ruining the holiday shopping season by introducing Stopping Grinch Bots Act. So this is a bill that clamps down on users of computer software or systems that bypass the security measures of websites. Now, the bill targets shoppers that are using bots that allows them to easily buy coveted products online or in stores. So in the proposal, one of the lawmakers, Tonko, specifically identified toys as the main target for these scalpers. But the bill also will prevent use of bots on online sneaker retail stores. So Landon, what do you think? Do you think this is the end all be all? Do you think that this is actually gonna even pass? Or is this just kind of I don't know. What are your thoughts about this whole article in general?
This is the most age-old sneaker question for years now, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wasn't bots supposed to be totally eliminated 4 years ago?
Well,
Totally just gone off the face of the earth. Oh, you guys are gonna see bots are so done. Hasn't that been the topic of conversation forever?
Well, there has been legislation, and now there is a law that does ban botting for ticket sales. So you can't do that; it is illegal. But it only is in the realm of ticket
So it's a
sales.
crime.
Oh yeah, I don't know if it's but no, it's a crime. It's a big boy crime too. So, but also, personally, I think it's a good introduction. I don't think it would really stop anything, even if it became law, because these companies are well invested in, they have hundreds of thousands of users or thousands of users running their bots.
And can't you spoof it? Isn't there always going to be different ways for you to isn't that kind of what this is? It's sneaker brands trying to get the one up, and then
Right, it's always
developers
it's
getting
always
the
a
next one
cat and
up.
mouse
It's
game.
just
Yeah.
kind of chasing your tail.
Yeah.
Oh, we found a new way to block this type of bot.
Right.
That's really cool. I just created this new bot that gets around this.
Right.
Oh, we stopped this bot. That's really cool. I just created a new bot that gets around
Yeah,
this.
it's always
It's
a cat and mouse
It's one
game.
of those things. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So,
personally, I don't think this is gonna kill resale at all. Even if it somehow it did eliminate all these sneaker bots that are out there or retail bots, I still think resale is gonna be there regardless. No matter how much people will try to stop. The only way to really kill resale is if these manufacturers of either shoes or sneakers or toys only mass produce, items. That's the only way, because if there's enough supply and enough demand, you're going to find an equilibrium, and then it's going to be an average price. But until then,
no, because I think the one thing is, like, say this act passes, right, and say it enters the realm of
becoming
illegal
law,
activity,
right?
that changes the scope of everything. Like, everyday person, like, oh yeah, I'll buy it for shoes because someone else is. I'm sometimes I act under the mindset of, if I don't do it, someone else is gonna do it.
Right.
As long as it's not something like bad, like, oh, if I don't kill someone else. No, it's not like that. But if I don't do this, someone else is gonna buy it. If I don't buy this, someone else is gonna buy it and do this.
Right.
So it kind of falls into that. But whenever it turns into illegal activity, then you got morals that come into play.
Oh,
now, don't
yeah.
get me wrong. People are going to buy it if it becomes illegal, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
But some people probably won't. Some people are going to be like, yo, look, like, this was a good run. This was great. I'm going to maybe sell my bot. I'm just going to stop botting. It's not worth them, tapping it. I don't know what the crime would be. I'm imagining if it's illegal, it's serious enough to.
Yeah, you probably either get fined or face some jail time. I don't know exactly. I don't know what the penalties are they're producing, but I personally don't think it's even going to become a law. I think it's such a niche kind of law.
I feel like this kind of
where,
circulates every once in a while. Like,
yeah,
it's just like,
yeah.
hey, bots are getting out of control. Nike needs to do something. They're like, we're thinking about taking this act.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, good. Thank you for thinking about doing something. And then you give it a few months, it dies down.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, nothing ever happened. Wow, you're right. We're going to look into doing this
right
now. Okay, well, all right, good. At least they're looking into it. Then you
Well,
kind of wait for the waves to kind of calm.
Now, don't get me wrong. I definitely think like Nike and all these big retailers are like, oh, for sure, like we're trying to allow like our true fans to get the shoes. I mean, we've kind of seen it
a little bit in the back of your
right.
head that it's like, I sell what happens after
right.
the shoes leave our site don't really matter.
Right. Well, they're like, the shoes are going to sell out. Like, I mean,
are we ever concerned about who we're selling the shoe to?
Right.
We're just like
we made our money.
Anyone who wants this shoe, buy it.
Right.
I don't really care what kind of person you are.
So
just buy the shoe.
There's always that 1% chance I think that happens with these retailers where they're like, oh, we're going to put up some fences, but if you happen to jump over them and you get a couple pairs, we still get your money. So, but no, I personally don't think this is going to do anything to the resale market, even if it becomes a law. I think even if, one person, because if the PS5 sell out and you happen to get one manually by yourself, no bots, and people still are going to pay $1,000 for it, you're still going to sell it for $1,000 if you want to make that extra money. I mean, that's not going to kill resale. I mean, it might kill how many you get, but I mean, personally, me and you, we've been able to get PS5s manually, and it just happens. Like, resale is just going to be there. But moving on, Landon, what we got next?
All right, here we are. We're on our final article right here. So this is just an interesting one. I kind of tossed this one in there. So, Nike basketball shoes keep blowing out for Mitchell Robinson. So Mitchell Robinson believes his injury problems this season are related to an assortment of failed Nikes, or at least one of them he literally busted through in an attempt to kind of find comfort and stability for his feet. So after his sneaker sole burst last month in Chicago, the 23-year-old kind of changed his Nike signature lines. He's kind of been bouncing around from at least 3 of them, and then he's kind of picked up small injuries kind of along the way. So this kind of reminds me of whenever Zion was like blowing out of the PG 2.5.
Yeah. Oh, that went crazy.
That went so viral because Zion was just such a big name. That's what we always talked. Zion was like bigger than life in college. It made no sense, but I guess it makes sense because he's literally like an insane.
He's
talent,
huge
but like,
too.
I think it's really ironic, actually, whenever I was looking at this, because the PG5 is actually the shoe that he blew through. So Zion blew through the PG 2.5, and Mitchell Robinson blew through the PG5 whenever he kind of like fractured his foot or did something like that.
Oh, okay. So I don't know much about Mitchell Robinson. So what is he, in the NBA?
He's just like a center for the New York Knicks. So
okay.
I should
Is he a big guy?
that. So yeah, he's a big guy, like 280, 6'10". But you got to think.
Okay.
That's something I always try and factor in is like, is the shoe meant to withstand someone that big? Like, you're making a shoe for Zion Williamson.
Right.
Like, it's got to be able to hold him in. Like, Zion's maybe going to bust through some 2.5s. But, like, he said he's actually, like, he's kind of failed with, like, Kevin Durant, Kyrie, and Paul George's shoe lines. Like, he's had issues with all of them kind of leading to, like, minor injuries and tweaks and stuff like that. So, he said he's still trying to figure out. He said he might end up trying to play in Timberlands. Because,
that's what I was just laughing about.
We were reading that. So, yeah, he was making jokes like, oh, I might end up playing with Timbs. I think the next shoe he said he's going to try out is the Hyperdunk. So I don't know. I just found it interesting that what do you think about just ways to eliminate that, or do you look at this as more of an outlier? Like, this guy's a huge player, freak injuries like that are gonna happen.
Well,
But
it is kind of interesting to think about that you put that in there because like, all right, so is he signed to anything?
no,
Okay, so I'm assuming like maybe his agent
probably
or
won't
whoever.
be, probably won't be either.
Right.
Just a quality big guy in the league.
Yeah. Not gonna be a
it's the
superstar.
1%. It's the 1%
Right.
that get shoes.
Right.
So he's just a really quality big guy.
In
In the
his
league.
perspective, right, he's not going to get a player exclusive, so they're not going to no shoe, no brand is going to come and go, hey, you're amazing. Like, a lot of people are going to want your shoe.
Unless he went towards Anta, like, some people like
But
Rondo and Klay Thompson have done that.
maybe,
You could probably do that. I
but
don't think it's super hard.
I
to get your
don't
shoe from
know.
there.
The thing with Anta is I don't know how they cater to their players. Is it just like a money, like, hey, we'll pay you $1 million if you sell, and we'll put your name on the shoe, and you get a royalty if you sell the shoe?
Klay Thompson's up there.
Right.
He's with Anta, and he's like well on his line.
Right.
Like an actual shoe line.
Right,
All
right,
these other
but-
ones I see like sporadic.
But are they?
just like,
But how well integrated is Klay Thompson with Anta? That's what I know. Are they just using his name, or is Klay Thompson involved actually in the?
Are you talking about like the peak Lou Will from like Amazon? Like how
Right.
much is like Lou Will like really
Right,
designing this shoe?
right.
How much
Is it
just
just-
like the peak Lou Williams?
Right. Exactly.
I
So-
didn't know about that until we reviewed it.
So the only thing I can think about, Mitchell Robinson, like he's got a pretty big issue because if he keeps blowing through shoes and he causes injuries, like what do you do? Like you can't just go to a sneaker manufacturer and be like, hey, make me a shoe. Like, do you get like custom made or I don't know. Like if
But
nothing can hold them.
I have an easy counter question to that though, because like this dude's bigger than you. He's not the biggest of the big, and they're playing okay. So it's like part of me wonders if this is like, oh, I'm dealing with injuries right now, and these shoes just aren't good enough. It's like, what about the 7-footers?
Right, they excuse.
What about the 7-footers?
Right.
Like, what are they wearing? Maybe they're wearing different stuff. Like maybe whenever you get up to that range, you need to wear more of like the less comfortable, more durable type options.
Right.
Like not the stuff with this much cushion, this much stuff that will just not, your foot's not going anywhere.
Right.
Maybe like the Hyperdunk line.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about it. I mean, I don't know how many solutions there are, but if he keeps blowing out and he's running out of options, it should be pretty interesting to see him running and actually go in boots.
There is no way. No one is gonna put him on the floor if he walks out in Timberlands. There has to be.
Bro, that means we'd have to do some shoe reviews of the Tims. Can you imagine the traction on that?
I
Doing
cannot
that?
imagine the traction. I can't imagine the rolled ankles because your foot just won't give. Like, because it's just so flat. That's the thing. Like the basketball shoe's got to be curved a little bit. You got to be able to.
That'd be hilarious.
Oh gosh, you got to be
Oh,
able to kind of
man.
work around with it. But that's actually going to wrap up this episode for Laced Up. Thank you guys for taking some time to watch. But until next episode, peace.